Coming up on this episode of the Village Idiom.
Says, where do religious horses get hay?
The manger.
Christian Bale.
Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that each and every single week we choose a popular saying and we take an admittedly shallow, hopefully comedic, once in a while interesting, if we're lucky educational, dive into its meaning, its usage, its origins, but mostly we're just going to use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I'm Skinny, and in between us, the one, the only.
I'm Beetle Bat.
Beetle Bat.
My alarm is going off. Perfect timing.
That is alarming. Beetle Bat is back in the house.
If you've been wondering who is the face behind the last, well, is it the last couple or was it a couple weeks before that? I can't remember the order of events, but you were grateful enough to provide me with some riddlings.
I did do that. I think riddlings are probably my favorite part of the show. Every time you guys do them, my brain is just like, ooh, okay, so... don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Okay, gift horse, gifts or horse. And I just keep thinking of them, and they're not always good, but they just keep coming up. So I was
that's
like,
how we feel. It's not always good.
It's not always
they're
good.
not. But
I will say this: we're gonna get to it later, but today, sorry, I'm super distracted by all the crap on your lenses.
I was wondering if you noticed. I opened the Diet Coke too close and it shot across my face. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave it.
It looked like barbecue sauce or something just smeared across all the lenses of your glasses. What I was going to say is when we get to riddlings, now he's licking his lenses. You know, I licked
what did you lick?
in grade 9.
Oh dear.
Grade 9 science.
Good time to lick.
Dissected a cow's eyeball. And speaking of licking, so I was dared to, once we separated the lens from the eyeball, if I would put it in my mouth. So
What?
Pop the cow eye lens into my mouth and swished it around a little bit.
That is nasty. Did it taste like... Isn't formaldehyde not good for your body?
It can't be, but it kept the cow's eye pretty good.
If
That's
you
how
were to
come you're so
describe
timeless.
it to a chef, if you were a chef tasting things and you were like,
Imagine tapioca that never broke down.
what's it taste like? If you were to sell this, what would be the words to sell the taste? You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever accidentally tasted rubbing alcohol?
Never accidentally.
If you mean accidentally from a plastic bag inhaling it, then I've accidentally had some.
Yeah, similar to that.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna want to
very
You're gonna want to stay right on that. I have thrice tried to say that my Riddling today is possibly my favorite one I've ever had.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
Great.
not
That'll
because
counterbalance mine that are
Well, I'll
crap.
explain why. Because it's you're gonna hear it and go, "That's your favorite ever." I'll tell you why when we do it.
Well, sure, we should get a bit into it. I have got to get out. We got limited time to get this done today.
Are we doing a shorter one?
I got a dinner to get to. I can barely contain myself.
I see. Didn't you just eat?
Well, I'm always kind of just eating, but I do have a dinner.
Well, it's funny because Beetle Bat started by just off the top of his head using gift horse as a fake riddling, and kind of goes with today because it's
So hungry, I could eat a horse.
I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. You recognize that voice?
No.
So hungry, I could eat a horse.
Taxi.
Yeah, Latka from Taxi.
I'm so hungry. I could eat a horse.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty good, actually.
That's
So hungry I
why
could
can't
eat a
I
horse.
think of the guy's real name?
Andy
Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. Thank you.
Man on the Moon. Sometimes it gets substituted in with I could eat a pig. I'm so
Elephant.
hungry, I could eat an elephant.
I could eat a man.
Well,
You never know.
so what you're saying is...
I mean, that
sometimes-
really should be it, right? Because the soccer team that's what they got to. I'm so hungry I could eat a fellow player.
Well,
Didn't they wait till they actually died, though?
Yeah.
It wasn't a...
I mean, I would wait till the
wasn't
horse
a,
is
"Hey,
dead too.
like the movie
Jonathan."
Alive.
Why? Don't you wait till the horse is dead before you eat it?
Yeah, but you actually kill the horse to eat it. You don't just go, hey,
It's
Jonathan.
funny that you say that. I did come across this little interesting tidbit, but
A tidbit, but
here we go.
But
That there were just 3 horse processing plants in the continental U.S. prior to 2007. I thought that was a lot, but there was only 3 apparently prior to 2007.
How many now?
Shortly after, so there was a ban, and shortly after the ban was lifted, New York restaurateur I.Could.Eat.A.Horse served 5,000 grilled cheese sandwiches made with horse and pork bologna at a food festival in Brooklyn. He was forced to nix the plans to add French-style horse meat tartare to his restaurant menu with meat imported from Canada due to an outcry from local animal activists. And now there are 0.
That's a bummer.
See, I just assumed there was horse in bologna.
That's why it tastes so good. But I just thought it's weird. Like, have you ever heard of a horse processing plant?
No.
There were 3.
Well, didn't they used to make glue too? No?
Well, you don't want to be like you got to use all the parts. Because then it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, that's the joke. Like, if a racehorse broke his leg, it's like, oh, he's headed to the glue factory.
Off to the glue factory. So it was glue. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, horse is still eaten in... like Japan, like it's a delicacy too. Like they're like, oh, did you try the horse from that place to dive?
I mean more like, oh. That's a good Japanese.
But yeah, I eat horse. I feel like I probably haven't eaten a horse.
So
I haven't eaten horse, but I have eaten tiger. It's great.
Great.
But had we had the opportunity to eat horse, like if someone had horse prepared, you both would eat some.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like hands down, like no problem.
You don't look a gift horse in the you always put a gift horse in your mouth.
That's what you always put a gift horse.
That's the original saying. If you're gifted horse, you get to eat it.
If you have a gifted horse. So how do you? I won't even ask. I'll just say, when I was looking up like the correct usage of this, it can mean one of 2 things. Some people use it meaning they're so hungry they could eat the horse in its entirety. Mm-hmm. Other people use it, I'm so hungry I would eat anything, like because horse would be unusual. The 2 different meanings, it's either the size or the unusualness.
I always thought it was the size.
I did too.
Because for sure.
If you're going for an unusual, there's more unusual things to eat than a horse.
Like
a barbed wire fence.
Fair enough.
There's so many.
I'm so hungry.
I could eat a barbed wire fence.
Yeah,
you gotta be really hungry.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as much, but like you can choose a weirder thing.
Barbed wire does not roll off the tongue. It's in there.
It sticks.
What would be worse is if it made you sick and you had to throw it back up.
Oh, disgusting.
This is another. This
went all the way through.
That would be even worse.
Oh. Mm-hmm. This is from Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas.
So hungry, I could eat a horse.
And what's interesting about that is it's a reindeer talking.
That is awesome.
It's a reindeer saying, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
But I have eaten deer. Huh, that's interesting.
Interesting. It's a reindeer.
It's like venison.
I'm pretty sure I've eaten.
Oh, yeah.
You have.
Venison and stuff.
An elk.
Which, why can't I eat a horse then? I'm just a little bit upset. I just realized I didn't know it was something I wanted.
Well, speaking of hunger, before we get into origins and whatever.
What do religious horses eat? I got it. Okay, where do religious horses get hay?
The manger?
Christian Bale.
Oh my goodness.
Christian Bale.
There's so many answers. The manger, because that's...
Oh, that's good too.
Holy cow?
Mm-hmm. I see.
They steal it from Holy Cow?
I don't know.
It just came to mind. Christian Bale. That's funny.
That is... Oh, that just happened?
Yeah.
You didn't have that in your notes. It just happened right now.
I do have... This is a complete... I did come across a joke. It caught me a little amusing. Guy walks into a bar in England and orders a beer. Do you serve any of that lasagna that they found the horse meat in? The guy asks. Not that I know of, the bartender replies. But you can always try our Philly cheesesteak. I came across that one and I'm like, right. I'll throw it in there. It is what it is.
Well, I don't have a joke, but I did just get back from a trip.
Do tell. Where were you?
I was in Switzerland.
What?
Got to see the sights. Wearing my Swiss Army t-shirt. Wearing my Swatch watch.
That is an actual Swiss watch.
A Swiss Swatch watch. Did I get that right? Swiss Swatch watch.
Do you remember back when they used to have this X kind of rubber band thing around them?
To protect the lens.
Protect the top lens.
Yeah. It was stretched over. I never had a real Swatch watch in the 80s when they came out. So they were so popular in the late 80s.
For sure.
Specifically in my mind, it is paired with Expo 86. I'm pretty sure. Is it a Swatch watch, my Expo watch? I think it is Swatch.
It might be. You have an Expo 86
Yeah.
watch. I don't know
Anyway,
if it is.
they only came out in 1984. But the reason I'm bringing up, not only is the trip fresh on my mind, had a fantastic time, visited several castles, rode a boat in Europe's largest underground lake.
What?
So literally cruising through the caverns in a
Like Phantom of the Opera kind of
yeah,
thing?
like that. Like think the guy in Venice with the paddles as he's telling
Except
us all-
underground.
You
Yeah.
don't think there's a bigger underground lake?
Not in Europe.
They might have just not have found it yet.
Fair enough. This was only found in 1949. I would tell you the most interesting thing about my trip was the least Swiss thing, which was we're given a little guided tour through Zurich and the history, a lot of religious history with the Reformation and martyrdom and a whole bunch of stuff. And then they're like, "Oh, look at here!" And between these two buildings, like maybe the width of a sidewalk, is the ground is opened up, but it has a grate over top of it that you can walk. And just like 30 or 40 years ago, while digging up the ground to do some plumbing, they discovered Roman columns underneath the ground for like a Roman heated bathhouse. So they had a drawing of how this worked and where the fire was to cause the water to be hot. And it just makes you go like, what else is under Zurich if they find a Roman bathhouse? But you're never going to know because they're not going to dig up Zurich because it's historical.
Right.
Like, literally, the building next to it is dated like 1411 or something like that.
That's
and then
awesome.
Underneath that could be dinosaur bones. You don't even know.
Exactly. We have no
And
idea.
under that, the second largest lake in Europe.
Exactly.
So it's history on top of history on top of history. But so that was the most interesting because it was like, it was predates all the historical things we saw, but only found like a few decades ago, which I just thought was fascinating. But on today's, the reason I brought this all up today is, I'm fresh back, but we're talking about I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, that I thought I'd bring back some Swiss chocolate for us to eat.
Actual Switzerland Swiss
record the
chocolate.
sound.
So glad I came on this episode.
Oh my goodness.
This chocolate, this brand, I had never heard of before, Lotta Rock. And if you look up the world chocolate making competitions, Elias Lotta Rock is the current champion. So Lotta Rock Chocolates is the world's best chocolate maker. They used to make chocolates for all the other companies and then decided to brand themselves, so they're just killing it.
Is this like made by the Nazis or something?
No. This is
But that's amazing. I tell you,
that chocolate is next world.
it's problematic, but it's so delicious.
This
Full
Swiss,
of nuts.
don't
Are you saying Nazis or Nutsies?
It's not very good. Do you remember that SNL
I
skit?
can't open this. I do remember that.
Metalicious.
So this is the most basic bar that they have. It's just milk chocolate, but it gives you a good idea of just like
Okay, so the packaging is already brilliant.
right, like it's sleeve within a sleeve. The joy of fresh chocolate.
Is there a gold ticket in there?
ASMR.
Look at that.
Oh, it's like,
It's corrugated.
that's the word. I was going to use pleated, but yours is better. It is corrugated.
It's corrugated,
It is
so
corrugated.
it's extra strong.
Go ahead.
Oh my goodness.
Break off a piece of that Lotta Rock bar.
It's like insanely small Kit Kats.
Just tiny. I think the corrugations make it really easy to get like just
Whatever
a small,
whatever
yeah.
size you want. Okay,
The
ready?
Swiss are always thinking
Cheers.
ahead. Cheers.
Or Swiss German for
Ah.
cheers.
What are the Swiss? I'm sure it sounds silky. Ready? Here I go. It is creamy in my mouth.
Oh, that's gross.
You don't like it?
No, the taste great. The sound is gross.
Oh, okay. So that's the most basic. And the only reason I brought that one is because I've given all the other chocolates away.
The good ones away to people you like.
Yeah, actually.
Nice.
Beetle Bat might have already tried
I
some.
already tried some. I tried
I see how this goes.
the like world competition winner.
The one that he won for, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it was like filled with passion
No.
fruit and mango.
No, who would want a piece of that? Because it would have been a big deal to save a small piece for your friend. No big deal.
I brought the milk chocolate. Lotta Rock.
I enjoyed it.
How much rock?
I lot of rock right now.
I'm Rob Bass. I came to get down.
What were you gonna say?
It's not a small amount of rock.
A lot of rock. Rock. Okay, so we'll keep that moving, but it's delicious. I don't know if I could eat so much as
A horse size?
a horse size.
That would be gross.
Yeah, that would be. You just think the zits. Oh,
Oh.
that would be not good for the complexion. Your teeth would be all falling out.
The
But
teeth
if-
with a lot of rock right out of your mouth.
But if you do have to barf, eat things like, so when you're like really sick. This is my father-in-law's trick. He's like, I drink strawberry milkshakes because if you got to barf them back up, they taste like strawberry milkshakes. And so it's like if he's sick, he goes and makes strawberry milkshakes.
Well,
I'm with
brilliant.
you on that, but
Brilliant.
I'm same train of thought, but water.
or
Ew.
crackers.
Like
I,
if you're
I would
gonna
do crackers.
Oh, crackers. But
'cause
then
it's
you're
nothing.
throwing up sludge.
Yeah, but
Whereas
it's nothing.
water, like the more liquefied you can make your vomit, the better.
I feel like the
a
least-
strawberry milkshake.
I feel like though for me
That would make me. I don't
the
know.
least
But you gotta
acidic
throw
you
up.
want to make it because then the more acidic it gets, the more it burns as it comes back out.
And you're thinking crackers are
So, you see-
acidic?
so probably
they're
something
not
creamy,
acidic.
like a strawberry milkshake.
Water.
No, but strawberries are acidic.
How many do you put in? It's not a smoothie.
What if you just eat barf and
Okay,
then
listen,
it's the
listen.
same coming in and out, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Just drink someone else's
It's
barf.
not wrong.
Okay, forget. I'm not even.
I'm so hungry I could eat a cup of barf.
Said some words, where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind. Origin.
So no segues, nothing. We're getting into the origins.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you already? Did anybody have an idea? We gave you no warning of what this episode was, so you didn't have a chance to look it up. But does anybody have a guess of where "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse" comes from?
I'm gonna go
Or
with
how old
the
it
cavalry.
is.
I think somebody was
The cavalry.
so hungry. That makes the cavalry.
Cavalry. I'm gonna go cavalry.
All right. Well,
Or a
we'll
circus.
We'll start.
They probably actually did eat horses. I think this is a true, like it came from a true story of somebody being so hungry
I mean,
that they
we
ate
know
their horse.
that geographically, up to modern era, people ate horse.
No, but I mean like it was their horse, like not for eating, for riding.
Like, while they're
But then
riding it, they just bit into
then
its
they
back?
got so hungry that they were like, you know what? I can't survive unless I eat silver
And
over
when
here.
they go to dice it up, somebody says, "And I thought they smelled bad on the outside." All right,
I'm so
well, let's
hungry I
start
could eat a
with
tauntaun.
let's start with the oldest time this is found in print. Tobias Smollett in The Life and Adventures of Sir Lancelot Greaves in 1760. So it goes back. It's one of the earliest recorded. It is the oldest I could find, but they say one of the earliest recorded instances of the expression used in the narrative, in a scene in which Sir Lancelot has delivered a squire from a curative regimen of an incompetent doctor, nurse, and apothecary. Are you with me so far? And he's asked the patient how he feels. This is what he says. I should feel whole heart if so be as you would throw the nurse after the bottle of medicine which were thrown out the window, and the apothecary after the nurse, and order me a pound of chops for my dinner, for I be so hungry I could eat a horse behind the saddle.
Behind the saddle?
Which is the original phrase. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse behind the saddle.
Like,
so
eat
then,
its bum parts?
well, here's the interesting part. This is where some debate comes into the picture. So some
like mass
riding
debate. Like,
it,
just
or is it-
everybody's worked up about it.
it's huge.
Haven't you heard about the debate?
Haven't you?
Continue.
Anyway, the debate is: are they saying I'm so hungry I could eat a horse's butt, or are they
Sounds a bit-
saying? So this is where some of the literary scholars actually argue and say, no, when you say behind the saddle, it means through the saddle. So eat the horse.
Everything
through-
below the saddle?
Like through it. Like start with the saddle. Eat through the saddle into the horse.
That's hard on the chompers.
And then there's more argument about it saying that the reason the saddle is mentioned is it's saying something not about the size of the horse, but how
first
gross it
few
is.
bites.
The saddle,
You gotta work
the
it-
sweat underneath it, the
The
rear
and then
end.
right into the spine. Go for a fleshy
The
part.
tail, what comes out behind underneath the tail.
The hand gestures are concerning.
So the other thing is, so horse meat is also. How do I get into this? So depending on what part of the world you're in, a lot of the times horse meat is considered a lesser than meat. Like it. Nobody likes horse meat. But the other argument is,
You know who does? Hungry people.
exactly. The other part is that horses were more valuable alive than as food. Because they were pack animals, you could ride them. All these things made it way less likely to be eaten than.
You want to look good and
else.
have lots of energy after when you're in your starvation.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the argument is still, even back to the original, is it about the size of the horse or is it about the detestable nature of eating horse?
It's not the size of the horse; it's how you use the horse. I think that's for sure.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
below the saddle, behind the saddle sounds better because there's a good fleshy part, like a good chicken thigh or something.
Rump roast.
Yeah.
What kind of horse would you eat?
Clydesdale.
I mean, it's the biggest.
Pony.
I can't think of a horse I wouldn't eat.
He's open-minded.
What do you put on horse?
Horseradish?
Ooh.
Why do you think they call it that?
Fair enough.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like A1 kind of material.
Why not? A1 can go on anything.
Well, you can put anything on
Have
anything.
you watched the commercials?
It's like you could put barbed wire on it.
Franks? You put Franks on
Call
everything.
back
I would for sure
The
put
call back
Franks
to
on it.
barbed wire. I don't know.
In what medium? Do you want a steak, though?
Well, I think everyone knows you're going to have to do a long, slow cook on a horse.
Everybody knows.
It's a working animal. And so, you just don't want to... Like, what kind of fatty part do you think of in a horse? That you just like, that thing just sits around all day? Oh, it's a work animal.
It's a work
It's going to be tough. You're going to have to low and slow. We're talking about a 14-hour cook time. You just can't
Just put a whole horse over a rotisserie
I'm so
kind of thing.
hungry that I'm going to slow cook a horse. It doesn't even make sense.
I'm so hungry.
That's true.
I could boil a horse.
Boy, you'd need a pot for that.
You can boil a horse.
I'm so hungry.
Are you going to fry a horse?
You can't boil a horse, can you?
I don't think you'd have to dismember it.
I'm so hungry. I could make sushi out of a horse. Why not?
So the
What would
real
be-
irony is the
you'd have
countries
to
that
use
they
a
served
spit.
horse, this is literally where the title main entrees comes from.
That's disgusting. Oh, the burnt hair.
Somebody just sent me a Far Side. Remember Far Side?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a room full of horses. And it's like the leadership team is confused because for the first time in decades, somebody voted yay.
Who wants horse? Nay.
So anyway, the thing we know for sure is that the horse...
He never has seconds of my horse.
Why the horse? They could be either about the size or about the how far down the list, whether it's because of how big it is or because of how gross it is, how far down the list it is. That's how hungry somebody is. And the adaptation of elephant or large animal is about size, whereas horse is the OG.
Yeah, but in terms of its athletic steedness, I would put it like you'd sooner have elephant. I think elephant would be fattier. It's a fattier meat. It's not a lean meat.
Yeah, but it would be really tough skin. Mm-hmm. You don't get the
Like crackling?
You don't get the crispy skin. No, it would be like leather.
That's true. There you go. Not as fun to eat. That's
No.
sure.
It would be fatty though.
Would it?
Yeah.
Well, elephant ears. That's the thing.
They've probably got massive bones too, because I don't consider elephants fat. I just consider them big boned. So there'd probably be a lot of marrow in that.
I'm not fat shaming an elephant.
No. I just
No.
They'll remember that stuff. Anyway.
No, they have pretty thick skin though.
Anyway.
Well, there it is. I did come across this other little interesting tidbit
What do you got?
to close things out. We're going to have to get into some riddlings here.
All right.
In 732, Pope Gregory II wrote to St. Boniface, who was spreading the Catholic faith amongst the Germanic pagans. You say among other things, that some eat wild horse and many eat tame horses, by no means allow this to happen in the future, but suppress it in every way possible.
Whoa.
That was sent from the Pope?
The Pope himself
Said don't eat horse.
Don't eat horse.
Huh.
Yeah.
But why?
I guess he liked horses.
Why does the
Good
Pope...
thing he didn't like chicken. that would have gone bad for everybody.
Why does the Pope
That is the
have
voice
to
of
interfere
God.
with how people eat?
That is the voice of God on this earth.
And he doesn't want us to eat horses?
Apparently. The Lord said go and eat everything except horse.
Except horse.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, of course.
All right. Well, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Riddling is a game we like to play. It takes a two-part trivia-based question, requires a two-part but overlapping answer, overlapping by syllable or word or words or complete sentences if we're lucky. So, for example, I don't know if you remember, Beetle Bat, you weren't here, but last week, Skinny, we did Green Room. And we left you with this one. Well, this is an adaptation because we ended up having duplicates. And so I couldn't remember your exact wording for this, so I have my version of it, which is Kermit sometimes saying this before going on stage. Any guesses?
It's not.
I wrote it.
It's not easy being green room.
It's not easy being Green Room. So that was one of yours that I brought,
Yeah.
but I didn't get to share it because Skinny had the same one.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah.
Brilliant minds, brilliant minds. Well, I've got a couple prepared.
I got a couple. You got nothing.
I
I should have given you
Had we told you prior, that would have.
I'll try and think of one
Okay.
before the time is done.
But see if you can also get this at the same time while you're making one. See if you can. And Village Idiom children, we would love to hear from you if you can beat either of these gents in solving this. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Ricky Bobby and Cal Naughton Jr.'s slogan was sliced pork belly.
with sliced pork belly. Do you know it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shake and bacon.
Oh, that's good.
It is shaken bacon.
Nice. Okay, I got one. This is the one. I was going to save it for everybody else, but I like it too much. I want to talk about it. This is the one that I said I think is my favorite Riddling ever. I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. Was never said by this talking horse, even though you could eat it.
What? Well, Mr. Ed is the talking horse.
Yeah.
Tell our Village Idiom children again.
I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. Was never said by this talking horse, even though you could eat it.
Even though you could eat it. Mr. Education.
Even though you can eat it,
You can eat education.
you can eat up knowledge.
Oh, Mr. Edible.
Mr. Edible. So it's a horse, and it's eating. I'm like, this is like the idiom.
it's like a
compacted into.
horse that eats.
Mr. Edible.
I was pretty happy with it. I'm just saying.
When I think of, I'll hear edible, I'm thinking of like gummy bears with drugs in them or something.
Oh, Mr. Edible?
Yeah.
They
Mr.
probably have
Edibles.
Edibles is that?
That's a shop down the street, Mr. Edible.
Mr. Edibles, exactly.
Yeah.
Talking horse for their commercials.
After you eat them, you will see a talking horse.
I'm so hungry that this happened while writing War of the Worlds.
And we're going to leave that one dangle-lanowing out there for everyone.
No.
Because that's the one I got.
We should talk more, I guess. Okay, for one more time for our illegitimate children. I'm so hungry that this happened while writing War of the Worlds.
This was my version of it.
Okay,
Equine level famished for this War of the Worlds radio voice.
that'll work too. And that is 3 minutes gone.
Oh, man, I'm so disappointed in
This
us.
is Beetle Bat's favorite part.
Yeah.
It's only 3/4 full this
It
time.
always disappoints me when you guys do this.
It's crazy how that can happen, though.
That was a good fade out. Did you like that?
I did. It was
classy.
good. It was happy and fun music for this video.
Well, it was fun putting today's episode together. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with us. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, an alarm
Seriously.
went off right as it ended, too.
Wow.
It's a sign.
It's like you planned that.
I'm Skinny,
I'm Jurassic Mark.
And I'm Beetle Bat, is what I was saying.
and these are the Village Idioms.
I'm so hungry. I could eat a horse.
And that's 3 minutes gone.